Well, I am so thrilled today to welcome Heather Gentile to our global partner program launch. At Credo AI, we are really excited to be on this journey to bring trusted AI governance to market. And as we believe that this is not an endeavor that needs just one company, it needs a collective vision and excitement and energy from a lot of different partners and players. And we are really thrilled to have IBM as one of our partners to make sure that AI's opportunity and the benefits that we can get from artificial intelligence can be received with the right guardrails as well as trusted AI governance central to that conversation. So, with that, Heather, welcome. So excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you, Navrina. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today.
Well, I am so thrilled, Heather, for all the work that you're leading at IBM. So maybe just to kick it off, Heather, tell us a little bit more about your role at IBM and how you're driving the vision of IBM Watson GovernX forward.
Thank you. So in my role of Director of Product at watsonx.governance, we focus on bringing responsible AI to market at scale. And so there's a lot of different dynamics that go into that mission. We focus on AI lifecycle governance around with the ability to proactively mitigate risk, and compliance is a very important piece where we're so happy to have Credo AI as a partner.
Well, thank you so much, Heather. So, Heather, as obviously you're working with multiple enterprises, especially Global 2000s, that not only have the scale in artificial intelligence, but are also now bringing in new AI capabilities at speed than something that we have previously seen before. So, what are you seeing as the biggest hurdles to enterprise AI adoption today?
Well, this is all moving very fast. If you look back 2 years ago, generative AI went mainstream, and even companies who were successfully adopting predictive ML saw themselves having to react very quickly to writing policies for employees on, appropriate use of AI that were aligned with their ethics, and their own company strategies around responsible AI adoption, and then implementing training. And so that employees understand and can conform to the ethical and responsible adoption of AI. We've seen this, further accelerate with the introduction of agents and the ability to easily build agents within third-party applications. So I think the ability to adopt AI in support of business strategies or even day-to-day productivity continues to accelerate at a rapid pace.
Absolutely. And this is interesting, Heather, because we are seeing right now enterprises really have core three needs, whether it is adopting third-party AI or building their own first-party AI applications, or, really trying to keep pace with these new AI capabilities so that they can serve their internal and external stakeholders effectively. And, trust becomes so critical to making sure all this happens in the right way. So, at IBM yourself, I'm curious, what are you most proud of in your trusted AI governance program internally, but also what you're delivering through IBM Watson GovernX to enterprise clients all over the world?
I'm really grateful for the opportunity to participate in IBM's AI Ethics Board. I sit on the board as a software focal and have firsthand knowledge of IBM's own strategy of bringing AI into our organization for our own use. But the principles we work on within the Ethics Board also inform our go-to-market strategy. So through this collaboration, we've been able to achieve a variety of things in what we bring to our clients. Our risk assessment approach was really defined based on a white paper written by the IBM Ethics Board, looking at the different types of risks associated with AI adoption and identifying controls to help mitigate those risks. I was then able to work with my team in collaboration with IBM Research, where we operationalized that thought leadership piece into a software feature so that we can provide integrated risk assessments in support of our clients' ability to evaluate use cases and understand the risks associated of bringing a new AI deployment into their organization.
So Heather, maybe going a little bit deeper, like, it's really interesting because when we think about AI, there's this really massive upside, but a lot of interesting, not only inherent risk, but emergent risk that we are seeing within AI systems. So let's go a little bit deep, from obviously your expertise at IBM and with many of your clients and customers. What are some of the top AI risks that are top of mind for these enterprises, and how IBM is really helping them navigate this very evolving, I would say, risk surface area that continues to increase with emergent properties of artificial intelligence?
That's a really timely question, Navrina. From the end of last year, we've been very focused on new and emerging risks specific to agents. With agents, they can be built very efficiently in just a few days' time, and the automation potential is tremendous. But we've always approached AI adoption with human in the loop as a best practice. And so with agents with greater automation, you have more happening, behind the scenes and less human interaction. From that perspective, we spent some time building out new evaluation metrics that can understand the inner workings of the agent and how data is being transformed, perhaps as it's being passed between different models. So for example, you could start with a governed data set that you're very confident in, but there's potential that bias could be introduced during a data transformation. So the ability to leverage technology and detect when that transformation happens and there's a risk that needs to be understood has become a really nice opportunity to partner more closely with engineering and developers to provide tools so that they understand how the agents pieces are working together, along with new features we have on the roadmap like traceability to understand based on user interaction how the results will be sent back so that we can maintain a level of confidence and transparency, explainability, although we're able to leverage greater automation.
Heather, it's interesting. We were just in the Gen AI world, and now we are fast forwarding very quickly into agentic AI and autonomous AI world. So everything that you've highlighted is absolutely top of mind for us at Credo AI as well, especially as we think about alignment challenges and how, making sure that these systems, once they are given an objective, they can actually go and do that objective in alignment with business values. So, maybe we'll shift a little bit to our partnership, which we are very excited about. We announced our partnership earlier this year, where Credo AI policy packs are part of IBM Watson GovernX, powering the compliance accelerator. So I'm curious, why was this the right year and the right time to bring these capabilities into Watson GovernX, not only the product, but also the ecosystem of clients that we are serving together?
So I think the timing was perfect for our partnership announced at Think just this year in 2024. There certainly has been a lot of regulatory activity globally. And in the past year, we've worked very closely with our European clients as they're preparing their frameworks to be in compliance with the EU AI Act. And so we have always started by operationalizing clients' policies and procedures as the foundation layer. And as you and I have discussed, there's quite a bit of a challenge in any industry keeping up with all of these proposed regulatory changes, industry changes. And we at IBM truly appreciate, the approach that Credo has taken to develop your authoritative content, not only on the requirements of industry standards and regulations, but the suggested controls as well. And so bringing this feed into our compliance plans in watsonx.governance through the compliance accelerators help to give our clients a authoritative source for a regulatory framework where they can then understand for each use case what are the industry standard and compliance requirements they're subject to, and be confident that they do have the right controls in place, both to mitigate risk as well as to be in compliance.
And Heather, at Credo AI, our partnership with IBM was always a better together story, because when you think about the massive needs of these enterprise AI clients, governance is more than just regulation. Governance is about risk understanding, risk mitigation, adoption of AI, but also building these transparency artifacts, to your point previously, to create that accountability, the provenance which is needed to have that confidence in these very powerful AI systems. And we have seen at Credo AI that our Better Together story resonates a lot with clients, because now they have capabilities that can help them actually build trust with AI and actually deliver that at scale to customers. So I'm curious, what are some of the early feedback you've seen from enterprises that might be considering compliance accelerators, that has unlocked new governance outcome that neither of us would have accomplished alone?
So that's a great question. I think that the early feedback was very positive. I know that we've jointly been supporting quite a variety of pilots in support of this joint value proposition. The ability to, have the holistic governance solution through IBM for clients who are also leveraging our MLOps tools through guardrails and detectors, along with the new security functionality that we added just this week to detect shadow AI, combined with the, solid understanding of both risk management and compliance that is informed through the Credo AI accelerators, really help a client to finish an implementation and recognize time to value quickly and efficiently, because they know that they've got the different pieces to understand the enterprise risk posture in support of the entire AI lifecycle. And that's where I think the Credo policy pack piece coming in as that authoritative source, to bring the compliance plans together. And also the assurance that with this data feed, if there are changes, our clients will be aware of those changes and can react proactively, has really helped to accelerate our own value proposition, in bringing our tools to the market.
And I think that's exactly, I think, what we are seeing in the market, Heather, especially as we, the something you and I talk a lot about is the pace of change in artificial intelligence is something we have not seen previously. So when we look ahead 12 to 18 months, I'm very curious about your take, not just on some of the new capabilities in agents, but also in the generative AI systems that a lot of these clients are putting in production. What are you seeing, or what are you anticipating as maybe the top three AI governance requirements that your enterprise clients are going to want? And I'm very curious, obviously, how our partnership actually is going to unlock more value for them. So maybe could you dive a little bit deeper into looking ahead 12 months? What are the top three AI governance needs, especially in Gen AI and agentic AI, that you anticipate enterprise clients having? And then how do you see our partnership unlocking more of those opportunities?
I think the ability to deliver AI at scale is a huge driver now, and even more so in the months to come, because as organizations experiment with different generative AI strategies and they realize they can get them right, the timing to move to production is so critical in order to achieve that value. So having a system a governance system that can meet their needs today, but also grow with them as they mature in their AI governance programs, and get more efficient at bringing AI to production, is going to be a huge area of focus, along with ROI focus areas. There's been so many changes in generative models themselves, where we started with, large language models, and now there's a focus on SLMs as more highly efficient models that you can run at far less to cost. So I think a lot of it points to, that acceleration in business value, where there's tremendous opportunity to implement AI to really accelerate business strategies, employee productivity, and efficiency. But that really needs to be balanced with having confidence in the ability to do that, which goes back to effective risk mitigation and understanding, those compliance requirements so that they can move quickly with confidence.
It's interesting, Heather, something that I talk a lot about. It's not thinking about what could go wrong, but it is what could go right with AI if we have a very holistic view on risk and if we have this human in the loop oversight, which is not only infusing confidence in AI capabilities, but is also infusing a lot of trust in the systems that we are collectively delivering. So I'm very interested to hear your perspective because IBM has a full stack opportunity here in AI, especially with your MLOps platform, especially now with Shadow AI, and then especially with this partnership with Credo AI. Where do you think this ecosystem is moving forward in terms of AI governance category and the interplay between MLOps and maybe even some of the GRC capabilities? How do you see this AI governance category evolving over the next maybe year or 2 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. We see, the AI governance function within an organization, bringing together stakeholders who traditionally didn't interact with on a frequent basis. And that really started with the introduction of generative AI, where these AI committees now included perspectives from HR, from the employee standpoint, marketing from the reputation standpoint, in addition to the traditional, actors of the chief data officer, chief privacy officer, IT, and risk and compliance. And so it creates a demand on AI governance technology to be able to provide the right insights to the right people in the organization in order to truly understand both the progress being made with AI adoption, but the risks as well, as we discussed. And I think as we move forward, you will see more traditional GRC aspects becoming areas of focus within the GRC strategy. I mean, certainly already we think about the op risk perspective, where if there was a failure, what would be the business impact of something going wrong with AI? Third-party risk. I know Credo's had a big focus there recently, where for a lot of smaller organizations who don't have talent to build their own AI, they're leveraging third-party systems and need to have the confidence in the output and the right assurances from a vendor risk management standpoint. Certainly, IT security and cyber risk, we're seeing that as well as the CISOs are becoming more and more involved in the gating factor of when are you ready to move to production and do you have the appropriate controls in place? So I think these stakeholders will continue to have to work even more closely together in order for AI as a technology strategy to be successful and understood within the organization.
And Heather, I think this is one of the interesting nuances that is, I think, very underappreciated, that AI governance truly is a multi-stakeholder sport because one, AI is becoming really the fabric of an enterprise. And as a result of which, there are use cases in HR to finance to marketing to productivity to engineering. And so I'm very interested to hear your perspective, especially around our joint partnership, where not only are these compliance accelerators helping with the risk management and regulatory perspective, but with the powers of Watson Govern X, we are bringing those multi-stakeholders to have a holistic 360-degree view of these AI capabilities. So maybe could you talk a little bit more about when we are jointly going into a potential client, how does our Better Together solution help them have an integrated AI governance approach, which you have actually, pushed for many years before it's become a core theme?
Yeah, so I think going into a client together with our joint value proposition, helps to give the confidence that the client will maintain up-to-date awareness of changing risks and changing compliance requirements in support of their day-to-day work. And part of what we're able to do with different stakeholder-specific views is make sure that the stakeholders have the right metrics to inform their decisions on a real-time basis and then also have the ability to go into drill downs to understand exactly what are the compliance obligations, or if risks have been identified, what are the risks and what are the controls in place to mitigate those risks. So a lot of it, I think we bring together is the efficiencies of capable, highly configurable technology that can bring together the perspectives needed by the leaders within these companies in order to confidently say that I'm adopting AI responsibly and ethically, and here's my audit trail that helps me to explain why, I'm confident in that.
Yeah. And, maybe Heather, I would love to maybe give the audience one or two examples of where you're seeing faster time to value or market or more confidence in AI deployments. Could you give us maybe one Gen AI example for one of your clients that might be using Watson GovernX, and maybe also thinking ahead around agents and maybe use cases that you're seeing earlier in AI agents that is benefiting from this integrated AI governance approach?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've obviously seen a lot of focus on internal use cases, things like employee productivity, using LLMs to inform an internal help desk that perhaps interacts with clients, but give them information at their fingertips for immediate answers, reducing time to get back to a customer from a call volume perspective, being able to handle a much larger volume of questions due to that efficiency. And we're also seeing both from the generative AI as well as the agent side, opportunities for app modernization and leveraging AI to transform code, things like COBOL code into Java, where the AI can do the transformation for the majority of code. And then we have human in the loop with the review of that transformation, but then also for the parts that couldn't be converted, really to focus the developer time on that small amount. And then, with agents being able to do that, and ultimately the human makes the choice whether or not to include that code into the central repository. So on a day-to-day basis, I think it comes down to opportunity where employees themselves are identifying ways that AI can help make their jobs more efficient, and then working through a governed process, be able to go through the various checkpoints to understand the risks associated with supporting that use case, from the Credo AI data feed that we bring into the solution, the recommendations of controls to mitigate any risks, and really move through the use case approval process efficiently, along with identifying the right AI to support the use case and successfully bring that to production.
So maybe just last couple of questions, Heather. One, just about where we are headed in the AI ecosystem. If you had one piece of advice for enterprise AI leaders who are not only adopting a lot of AI, but are also thinking deeply about governance of these systems so that they can build that trust, what is that one piece of advice you would have for these enterprise AI leaders?
So my advice is align with an AI governance technology vendor that is a visionary, and brings thought leadership and best practices to the industry. And that is why we at IBM partnered with Credo AI, because we see that in everything you bring to market. And it's so important that I think these organizations who are making the investment in AI today can continue to accelerate, that success. And so having a vendor that is a trusted partner is key to that. You don't want to outgrow your vendor in a few years' time as you get more mature. Pick a vendor that's really investing and can be with you throughout this transformation.
Thank you, Heather. And that's one of the reasons we are excited to partner with IBM. I think not only the leadership in the products and AI capabilities, but also how you are collectively bringing the ecosystem to actionable things that can be done by enterprises today to not only build trust with AI, but also to deliver that trust to consumers is something that we are very excited about in this partnership. Heather, as you look ahead to in especially the new AI capabilities and frontier AI capabilities that are coming to market, what are you personally most excited about?
I think it's exciting on a daily basis. The announcements being made about things that are being achieved with AI. It's almost like you don't know what to expect next. This time last year, agents weren't even on anyone's radar. It wasn't something we were talking about, and now it's one of the biggest initiatives that we discuss on a daily basis. So I think the pace of change is really exciting. The opportunity to learn more about the capabilities of AI as technology evolves is something that will help people continue to grow in their careers, help businesses achieve new things. And so I think on the horizon, there's a whole lot more to come.
Heather, as we think about the real ROI of AI governance and what it unlocks for an enterprise, very interested to hear maybe a very concrete example of a client that has seen real enterprise AI value because of IBM Watson GovernX. Would you be willing to give us an example and maybe some of the KPIs that they have been tracking?
Happy to do that. So we work with a lot of global clients, particularly in the financial services industry. As a result of implementing watsonx governance technology, we've seen clients reduce the time that it takes a use case to go through the approval process to production, reduced from weeks to, just over a few days, particularly with, low risk use cases. Once this framework is in place and there's confidence in the gating process, and features like Credo AI informing the risk posture and the understanding of compliance requirements, it's very easy to pair the appropriate controls and using that streamlined automated work stream, bring the use case to production much more efficiently than having manual processes that require a lot of overhead to coordinate. So when you correlate that to dollars and cents, you're saving days of stakeholder time from the perspective of development tools that allow the engineers to understand the workings of the model and choose the right model to support the use case with confidence. All of the mapping that's done with the lineage of understanding the compliance requirements and having controls in the control library that are ready to go. You're really saving days of effort across different stakeholder groups in order to achieve, effective AI governance in a very scalable way that's efficient and provides transparency throughout the process.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, Heather, when we look at the ROI of AI governance, you're spot on. There's a really interesting top line growth opportunity because now you're able to bring in more AI faster with a better perspective on risk and risk parameters that you need to mitigate. And so we are seeing, 25% reduction in time to adopt new technologies. But on the other flip side, also to build your AI capabilities and taking them from a design all the way to production, getting from these massive number of weeks down to days is a benefit that enterprises are going to start to see unlocked with governance at scale. So really excited about, the KPIs and the ROI that clients are already seeing with governance to make sure that trusted AI is not only a top line opportunity, but also an opportunity to build that trust across the ecosystem. Lots of exciting stuff ahead. So maybe the last question, looking ahead to where AI trust and AI governance is headed, what excites you most about our partnership, IBM and Credo AI, working together to unlock the potential of artificial intelligence?
IBM and Credo are both leaders across industries in AI best practices, both for adoption, but as well as, responsible and ethical implementation. And I think we have a lot of opportunity as partners to continue to shape that responsible AI strategy used across industries in the different work that we do in these leadership roles. So I'm really excited to be able to collaborate with each other on our roadmaps, find additional joint value propositions that we can continue to build out our partnership and bring new things to market together.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really excited for not only our work together, but what we are going to bring to this ecosystem to really embed trust and governance as an unlock for AI opportunity ahead of all of us. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Navrina.